What's going on, world? It's your boy, the author. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. I just want to make this video, man, and welcome. Welcome to the author's channel. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't been here before. A little bit about myself. I aim straight and tell you like it is. And at this point, I don't have to make a living off of YouTube, fortunately. So they're not paying me, so I can, I'm giving you the truth. So I don't have a large amount of subscribers, which is good. I don't have to placate or play to a certain group. I can speak freely and openly, which is what I do from day to day. Be sure to leave your comments below. I just want to touch on this point, man. I think I was on Facebook or something, and I hear this coming up a lot, man. And every time a black female, I hear black females talk about relationships and things of that nature. This point always comes up. And like I said, I think I was on Facebook. I heard someone made a post, and they said, where are all the black fathers? Why aren't black men taking care of their children? So I don't have any children that I know of. But basically, I always hear black men, black women talking about there's no man around. These black men need to take care of their kids. They need to grow up and take care of their kids. They're being lazy, selfish, and they're pretty much chiming in with that conservative racist talk. Not saying conservative is a bad thing, but some conservatives have these preconceived notions, and they all speak the same, are very similar when it comes to black social issues. And I just want to point out a few things. First and foremost, a lot of times these black females are going without fathers is because one of the reasons why is because they're choosing the wrong men to be fathers. So they don't have a father because they were choosing the wrong men in the first place. I think it's human nature for women to be attracted to money or power, or all women tend to want the same man, or there's nothing more attractive than a man who has other women interested in him. I've seen this before where you have a guy where you're like, man, he's not the best looking guy. Not saying that I would be judging that guy on his looks, but and females gravitate to him more than they would a supermodel with no women. But a lot of times too, especially in the inner city, I've seen it. A lot of black women tend to try to go for the big drug dealers, or maybe when I was growing up, the light skinned guy with the light eyes. Not to say other guys couldn't get girlfriends, but they would have the most choice, right? And when everybody, all the females or most of the females are going to go toward these certain groups, and then they'll have like the one guy with the light eyes or the one drug dealer, he'll have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different babies' moms, and then she'll like, well, he don't take care of his kids. And then all 3 of her baby daddies are what they call dope boys or dope dealers. And this guy has, I don't know how many babies' mom. Just like they had the thing in Memphis, the news story in Memphis, where they were saying that 3 men were responsible for fathering like 47 or 57 children. And that's really how it works all over the place. So in every race, but black women are supposed to be queens, so they're supposed to be different. But they seem the same to me. So when you pick the wrong guy to procreate with, that's one way in which you're gonna probably your kids are not gonna have a father because you picked the wrong guy. Black women do the choosing. So like I said, a lot of those guys either weren't shit to begin with, or they have so many choices. You were the outside chick. He's taking care of his primary The woman he's married to. A lot of black women too. They love married men. Then they'll have a kid by that married man and be like, well, why isn't he taking care of my kid? This guy and they'll say they didn't know, but they knew. And if you don't want to know, you know, right? And then he'll and maybe he's not taking care of. Maybe the guy is a shitbag, but you picked him and you didn't use birth control. So that's one way. And not to say anybody's perfect, but if you got 3, 4, 5 different baby daddies, you can't just put all of that on the man. So that's one way that you're not gonna have a father for your kid. Some of these women too, the ones that are on social services or Section 8. Now some need it. Now so if a female's falling on hard times, and she needs some help for a certain amount of months, I get that. But some of these females that have been on the system 10, 15, 20 years, having one kid after the other by the same type of men, they're on social services. Some of them don't even want a man in their life, or men in their. Some of these women don't want men in their lives. One of the main reasons is because they broke down what some of these welfare mothers make. If you look at all the benefits they get in terms of housing, they get in a lot of these social service or welfare programs require the women to work on a part-time basis at least. Can't talk today. Basis at least. Right. So they'll work part-time. Right. So they keep. I think that's at least like about 20 hours. So they keep that part-time pay. I think they have to work at least a certain amount of hours. Now that part-time pay doesn't affect what they get from social services. So it's not like a person on retirement. He can't work so many hours because it'll knock down his retirement money, right? The money that they make on the part-time job, they get to keep that plus everything they get from social services, i.e. the welfare. They said some of these single mothers they'll get like 30,000 from the welfare. They'll make like about another 10, 20,000 from the part-time job. Some of them are making about 50,000 a year without having to do much at all, just making babies. Not to mention they get child support and things of that nature. Most are unmarried, so it's more. And then too, in addition, a lot of times too, in order for these females to maintain their social service housing, then a man can't be living there. They check on them periodically to make sure to ensure that they are following the rules. And this is some black and white females. A lot of white females are on welfare, probably more white females than black females. But again, this is about black females because black females should have a lower amount on welfare because they're, i.e., queens. So, to put it quite frankly, some of these black females don't want the man in the home. And that way, too, they can collect all the money. They can still, what's the main reason why you want a man to have, with traditional nuclear families, the woman stayed at home, the man went out and worked, the female cooked the meals, so on and so forth. She just kept the home. But she had to, adhere to certain standards. You're a married woman, you're not going to have men in and out of the house. You're going to care for the kids. But in this way, being on social services, a lot of women get to have their cake and eat it too. What I mean is, if you want to have a different guy in and out the home, because you don't have to, the social services say that a man can't be living in the home, so they can switch cocks every night, man. They can have a different guy in there every few months, long as he's not staying in there. They can bang whoever they want. They can treat the kids however they want, which is why the child abuse amongst women is going up. Of course, more women are getting custody of their kids. A lot of these women are unstable, so pretty much they can have their cake and eat it too. It's every, if you're a slut, it's every whore's dream. You know, you can have men in and out of there. Um, you know, and basically you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about cooking for a man or cleaning. You might not have to cook or clean at all. So, and that's another reason. So, and third, last but not least, a lot of these females aren't even, now they have custody of the children, but they're not actually taking care of the kids at all, or very how should I put this? They're not taking care of the kids the way they should be. What I mean by that is a lot of these black females are leaving the kids with the grandparents or with the grandmother. So you'll see a lot of these females in the club, they have 2 and 3 kids. You're like, well, who's at home watching the kids? A lot of times it's the grandmothers. Plus, I've heard stories where they leave the kids in the home by themselves, have the 11-year-old watch the 3-year-old. It was one story, I think, I forget what state this female was in. I want to say North Carolina uh, or some state, Virginia probably. She goes down to Miami for the weekend and leaves she had 3 kids in the house by themselves, and she leaves the 3-year-old with the 11-year-old, and the 11-year-old, somehow the oven falls on top of the 3-year-old and kills him. I mean, all type of crazy stuff. I know females I was with, they didn't care about walking way up the street and walking back and leaving the kid, oh, he's asleep. You know, you could walk her back and do whatever. She'll be back an hour or 2 hours later. And if the kid wakes up and doesn't see the mother, oh, well, you know. But, you know, it's a shame in a lot of ways. But, I mean, when they talk about, you know, the fathers aren't in the home, they make it seem like they're doing all this hard work raising these kids, and they're being responsible, and the men aren't being responsible, and you know, so on and so forth. And don't get me wrong, there are single mothers out there who are, you know, working 40 plus hours a week. They have 2 and 3 kids. They're paying for a babysitter or babysitters. You know, they get home from work, they clean the kids up. I mean, they're doing it all by themselves. But that's not the case with a lot of these females. And like I said, a female who has 3 kids, that she was married to a man and the man left, and now she's raising 3 kids by herself, is different than a woman who has 1 baby daddy, 2 baby daddy, 3 baby daddies, 3 different kids. You know, and just reckless. So when they talk down on these men, it's a lot of different things that people should consider. You know, 1, who they're picking for their mate. You know, 2, basically, are they leaving the kids mostly with the you know, the grandparents, or you know, are they being responsible? And my mind totally had a brain fart on number 3. But basically, my main point is, if you're pretty much a lot of these females, if you're all trying to get with the same guy, and that guy is irresponsible, because a lot of them like to pick the same guy and have babies by the same guy who's not even taking care of his other children, then that's going to be a problem. If you want to get with the dope, and I think that was the point. If you want to get with the dope boy or the guy with the green eyes, then it's a high probability that he's not going to take care of your kids, because he has a line of other females he can't afford to. And a lot of those guys too aren't the most responsible guys, because eventually, usually that drug dealer is going to either go to prison, he's going to get out, and if he gets out of prison, you know, now he has to go straight. He's not going to get a 6-figure salary. He's not going to get a good job. When they tell him, hey, look, you already did 10 years. You come back, you're not getting out. He's going to probably have to get a low-paying job if he manages to keep himself out of prison. A lot of the guys that were light-skinned that I knew that were having kids, where all the females wanted to flock to them for the kids. A lot of those guys weren't shit. So that's one. And then, you know, two, some of them like this, some females like to get with the married men. So, you know, those men are taking care of their own children. Two, some females don't want to have a guy in the house because social services, welfare is the daddy. And three, you know, some of them are the grandparents are watching the kids. Because some of these females, they're 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. They don't know anything about being a parent. Some of them don't even wash their own ass. Now they have to, you know, look after a kid. You know, so the grandparents, a lot of the grandmothers and grandparents are raising these kids. You know, so you got a situation where, one, they're all choosing, most of them are choosing the wrong men. Two, they don't want a man in the house because they don't want anyone to tell them what they can or can't do. They don't have to take up any responsibility. They just receive the check, work their hours, and that's it. That's why you see so many of these women getting fat and fatter and fatter. 400 and 500 and sometimes 600 pounds at 5'4", 5'5", and 5'6" height. And three, some of them aren't watching the children. The grandparents are watching these kids. So whenever you hear, especially a black woman complain about, their kids them not having a father, sometimes you have to factor in these other elements that people seldom, think of. Because it's true, there are black men out here who are irresponsible, and some, they were too young to be fathers in the first place. If I were a young father, I probably would have panicked because there is a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. Not to make excuses for these guys. Hey, if you're not taking care of your kids, that's not the right thing to do. But ultimately, usually what I hear is females always talking about how lazy these guys are, how they need to take care of their kids, so on and so forth. And there's plenty of these females. A lot of them aren't even having the kids. They said there are more black babies aborted than given birth to in this country. A lot of because of feminism and that 1973 Roe versus Wade, because of Planned Parenthood, a lot of these females can get free abortions. They don't even have to discuss it with the father, so a lot of them aren't even having the kids. And if they are having them, they're not caring as much. A lot of these females are 40 years old, still trying to look cute on Facebook, half naked, and they have an 18, 19-year-old daughter. What do you think she's going to do? So basically the pattern follows itself, evil, vicious cycle. But I just wanted to make this quick video. Leave a comment. Do you often hear that? Black women talking about, where's the father? These men need to grow up, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. All right. And you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. You take care. It's your boy, the author.